Dear students, welcome back. Now we are going to see the thoracic cavity and the pleura. So, the cavity of the thorax. So, this is the thoracic cavity. This is the thoracic cavity. Contains the right and left pleural cavities. This is the right side pleural cavity, and this one is the left side pleural cavity, which are completely invaginated, and these two pleural cavities are occupied by the lungs. These are the lungs. So these pleural cavities are occupied by the lungs. So, and here the right side lung pleural cavity and the left side pleural cavity are separated by the median partition. So this is called the median partition, called as mediastinum, which is called mediastinum. The heart lies in the mediastinum. Here in this space, many structures will pass through. That whatever the structures we have seen in the inlet of thorax, those structures will pass through this mediastinum. Okay. Now coming to the pleura. So this is about the cavity, what it exactly contains. The thoracic cavity contains the right and left pleural cavities, which are completely invaginated and occupied by the lungs. The right and left pleural cavities are separated by a thick median portion. That means in the middle portion, in between the two lungs, it is having some space. That space is called mediastinum. In the mediastinum, heart is present, and also the some other structures which are coming into the inlet of thorax, like trachea, esophagus, or thoracic duct. All these things are present in the mediastinum only. Okay, there are many other structures which pass through the mediastinum. That thing we are going to study separately. Okay, now coming to the pleura. Like the peritoneum, the pleura is a serous membrane. So here if you can see this, the lung is covered by two layers. Actually, this is the inner layer. Okay, and another one is the outer layer, the black one. Okay, this is the outer layer. Okay, so this layer is called as pleura. The pleura is a serous membrane which is lined by mesothelium. So this layer is lined by mesothelium. We have already studied about this mesothelium in the epithelial tissue. Okay, so this is a flattened epithelium. There are two pleural sacs. So that means the same type is also present on the other side. There are two pleural sacs on either side of the mediastinum. So on the either side of the mediastinum, you are having two pleural sacs. Okay, each pleural sac, that means each pleural sac is invaginated from its medial side by the lung. So here if you can see, so it is invaginated. So లోపలికి వెళ్ళింది అనమాట లేయర్. సో బయట ఉన్న లేయర్ కాస్త లోపలికి వెళ్ళింది. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ ఇన్వాజినేటెడ్. దిస్ ఈస్ ద మీడియల్ సైడ్ అండ్ దిస్ ఈస్ ద lateral side. On the medial side, this pleural sac is invaginated from its medial side by the lung, so that it forms two layers. One is the outer parietal layer and inner visceral layer. That visceral layer is also called as pulmonary pleura. And these two layers will not touch anywhere. Okay, if you can see here, the outer layer will not touch the inner layer. Okay, but these two layers are continuous with each other around the hilum of the lung. Hilum means the root, that means the opening. So this is called as hilum of the lung. At the hilum of the lung, so if you can see, these two layers are attached here. So these two layers have an attachment. These two layers are continuous at the continuous with each other around the hilum of the lung. So, and it encloses here. So, and it forms a space in between two layers. It forms a potential space in between two layers like this. So it is forming a space in between them. So this space, that is called potential space in between them, that is called as pleural cavity or pleural space. What is called in between these two? So this space is called pleural space or pleural cavity. So that is filled with pleural fluid. So that fluid is, the pleural fluid is secreted by the mesothelium, in some diseases. So normally a thin film of layer that is called as pleural fluid is present. So in some diseases, what happened, this pleural cavity is filled with air. Air should not be filled in this area. Only air should be filled in the lungs, not in the pleural space. So here it is having the pleural fluid. The main function of the pleural fluid is to reduce the friction of the lungs during inspiration and expiration. Okay. So if it is filled with air, such condition is called as pneumothorax. If it is filled with any other type of fluid, that is called as pleural effusion. What do you call? Pleural effusion. If sometimes blood is filled in this space, called as a hemothorax. What is that condition called? Hemothorax. If any some pus is accumulated in this space, then such condition is called as empyema. What do you call? Empyema. So this is about the pleura as a whole. Now we will see individual one. The first one is the pulmonary pleura. So this pulmonary pleura or visceral layer, that is the innermost layer which is closely attached to the organ, covering of the organ, and it also covers the fissures. So fissures means some of the openings which divides the lung into two parts. It is having one oblique fissure and the horizontal fissure on the right side. On the left side it is having only oblique fissure. So with this fissure, it divides the lung into three lobes on the right side, two lobes on the left side. Okay, so inside this fissures also, this layer is this visceral layer is having a covering over these areas, except at the hilum and along the attachment of pulmonary ligament, because where it is continuous with the parietal pleura. So root of the lung work వచ్చేసరికి ఏమవుతుంది, it is continuous with the parietal pleura, outer layer తో కనెక్ట్ అయిపోతుంది. అందుకని ఏమవుతుంది, రూట్ ఆఫ్ ద హైలంని కవర్ చేయదు అని చెప్తున్నాను. ఓకే, సో it covers the surfaces and fissures of the lung except at the hilum along the attachment of the pulmonary ligament. Here the pulmonary ligament means the hilum. So normally this is the coronal section, anterior side. If you see the medial side of the lung, the pulmonary ligament is present like this, the hilum. So this is the opening. So this is the bulging like this. So this one is this, and some extension is present along with this is called as pulmonary ligament, the entire structure. This is called root of the lung. It is present like that. In this root of the lung, the pulmonary artery, two pairs of pulmonary vein, bronchial arteries will pass into the lung. So that is the pulmonary ligament. So this pulmonary pleura is firmly adherent to the lung. So it is very much adherent to the lung and it cannot be separated from it. So the pulmonary pleura cannot be separated from the lung. Now coming to the parietal pleura. So this is the outermost layer. So this parietal pleura is thicker than the pulmonary pleura and it is divided into 4 parts. One is the costal part, so which is related to the wall of the thorax on the lateral side, that is called as costal pleura. And another one is the diaphragmatic pleura, which is present on the inferior side. So this is the diaphragm. This part is called as diaphragmatic pleura. And this one is costal pleura. So the pleura which is related to the mediastinum, so then that layer is called as mediastinal pleura. And apex of the lung, that means this is the clavicle actually, above the clavicle, so that means this apex is entering into the root of the neck. So this part is called as cervical pleura. So the part of the lung which enters into the root of the neck, which is covered by the pleura, such pleura is called as cervical pleura. These are the reflections of the pleura in the coronal section. Okay, so again we will see how many types of pleura are there in the case of parietal pleura. So this parietal pleura is subdivided into 4 parts. One is the costal part. The costal pleura lines the thoracic wall, ribs and intercostal spaces. Okay, and then to which, so this layer is loosely attached by a areola or tissue called as endothoracic fascia. We know that after this transverse thoracic muscle will have endothoracic fascia and then the pleura in the case of thoracic wall. So this parietal pleura is separated with that of the thoracic wall by endothoracic fascia. So this is about the costal pleura. And coming to the mediastinal pleura, this mediastinal pleura lines the corresponding surface of the mediastinum. It is reflected over the root of the lung and becomes continuous as a pulmonary pleura. So this parietal pleura, so continuous pulmonary pleura at the root of the lung. Okay, next coming to the cervical pleura, it extends into the neck nearly 2 inches above the first costal cartilage, 2 inches above the first costal cartilage, and 1 inch above the medial 1/3 of the clavicle, and 1 inch above the medial 1/3 of the clavicle. So this is the clavicle. Below this we are having the first strip. So that first strip will have a distance between this is 1 inch, not 1 inch, 2 inches above the first costal cartilage and 1 inch above the medial 1/3 of the clavicle and covers the apex of the lung. And this apex is covered by the suprapleural membrane. I have already explained the suprapleural membrane. The suprapleural membrane is also called as Simpson's fascia. which is a diaphragm which is separating neck and the thorax, this membrane. And it is related anteriorly. So this part is related anteriorly to the subclavian artery and the scalenus anterior muscle, whereas posteriorly it is related to the neck of the first rib and the structures lying over it. Laterally it is related to the scalenus medius, and medially this part is related to the large vessels of the neck. Large vessels of the neck, that is the internal carotid arteries, jugular vein, all this comes at this side. Okay, this is about the costal pleura. And coming to the, as I have already explained, this pulmonary ligament, so that is an the parietal pleura surrounding the root of the lung extends. The parietal pleura surrounding the root of the lung extends downwards beyond the root as a fold called pulmonary ligament. I have told that there are pulmonary veins, pulmonary artery and bronchial arteries are present in this thing, and this layer is also contains loose areolar tissue with few lymphatics are present. Actually this ligament provides a dead space. This one provides a dead space which allows the passage of pulmonary veins, artery and the bronchial arteries. And during exercise what will happen, there may be the dilatation of these vessels occurs. So because of this dilatation it has to expand, this ligament has to be expand. So for that function it is having some dead space to overcome that pressure and the dilatation of these vessels. Okay, this is the function of the pulmonary ligament. And coming to the recesses of pleura, that means this pleura is having some folds. So there are two folds. One is the called as costomediastinal recess. So this one, this extra part is called as costomediastinal recesses or fold. Another fold is called as mediastinal pleura. So it is here, it is present, but that thing we can see in the transverse section. This is the coronal section. In the coronal section we can able to see only the costomediastinal recesses. Okay, so there are two folds of parietal pleura which acts as reserve spaces for the lung to expand during deep inspiration. So in quiet breathing some sort of expansion of the lung is occurring, but during deep inspiration what will happen, the lung will expand than the normal limit. So for that reason it required some extra space. That space is provided by these extra folds. One is called as costodiaphragmatic or costomediastinal recesses, and also this one is costomediastinal recess, this one is costodiaphragmatic. So this fold is present near the diaphragm, so it is called as costodiaphragmatic. And mediastinal recess we can't see here, we can see very clearly in the transverse section. Okay, this is the coronal section, so that thing we can't see here properly. So this costodiaphragmatic recesses. Okay, the costodiaphragmatic recesses lies inferiorly. So this one is the inferior part, lies inferiorly between the costal and the diaphragmatic pleura. Between the costal and the diaphragm. This one is the costal pleura and this one is the diaphragmatic. In between these two pleuras, you'll have this space. Okay. And vertically it measures, so this is vertically it measures about 5 centimeters and extends from 8th rib to 10th rib. and extends from 8th rib to 10th rib along the mid axillary line. So we'll have this axilla here. So the mid axillary line, if you draw a line here, it forms the mid axillary line. So the costodiaphragmatic recess lies inferiorly in between the costal and diaphragmatic pleura. Vertically, it measures about 5 centimeters and extends from 8th rib to 10th rib along the mid axillary line. So, this is the first part of the pleural cavity to be filled up by pleural effusion. Effusion means I have already explained, I have given some terms, isn't it? So, that means if it is filled with, the space is filled with air, then it is called pneumothorax. If it is filled with blood, then it is called hemothorax. And if it is filled with pus, then it is called as empyema. So, this is the first space. So whatever may be that, if it may be air or anything or any other fluid effusion, so this is the space that is going to be filled first, okay. So this is about the costodiaphragmatic recesses. So the another recesses called as parietal, another fold of parietal pleura is called as costomediastinal pleura. So that thing we are going to see in the transverse section, and also the blood supply and nerve supply of this thoracic cavity. As you people know the thoracic wall blood supply and all, and blood supply and nerve supply of the pleura and the lymphatic drainage of the pleura we can see in the next video. Thank you.